Good morning, everybody. Welcome to your Rangers Review morning briefing for Wednesday, the 3rd of September. I'm Derek Clark, and I'm joined this autumnal morning by Chris Jack. How goes it, Chris?
All good, all good. First show after the transfer window, as we're just been half joking about there. Whatever will we talk about now? How are we going to solve these? We're now in an international break when there's no transfer window. That's the dark old days of a season. So I'm looking forward to Rangers being back in action next weekend already.
Yeah, huge game. It's monumental for me, for Russell Martin. He has to win that game. There is no two ways about it. It is a proper six-pointer, as was at the Old Firm, incidentally. But less said about that, the better. But he has to win that match. But before we'll delve into that game, I think, more next week. What we'll do today, folks, is pretty much what we did yesterday when I was on with Blair. We'll invite questions from you guys. If you've got anything Rangers related on your mind, or maybe not Rangers related, get it in the chat, and myself and Chris will do our very best to give our views on it. Before we dive in, a quick word for our podcast sponsors, Willows Fencing, the Glasgow-based fencing company you can trust and proud partners of the Rangers Review. They've got over 20 years of experience. It's no job that they won't tackle. They offer free consultations, and you get 10% off with the code Rangers Review over on their website, willows-fencing.com. This comment sums it up. Blazing Blue 72 says, international breaks are horrible. Get on with what the fans want. I totally agree with you. I'm not a big fan of international breaks. They can get in the bin as far as I'm concerned, Chris.
They can. It's not my favourite fortnight of the season. It has to be said. Actually, I spoke to a colleague from another paper yesterday, and couldn't even tell you when these Scotland games are. I think they're playing Friday. So Denmark on Friday, and is it Monday or Tuesday? I think the second one is. But it shows my lack of interest in the national side, that I've never really don't even know when these games are playing. As per usual, we just hope that all the Rangers players come back from them fit and healthy and good to go, because after this break, the run of fixtures that Rangers have got is just so important. There is so much riding on this handful of fixtures, and that's not even counting in the European ones as well. So a lot to look forward to once we can get through the next week and a wee bit.
Yeah, so many questions already coming in. But before we dive into that, you may have seen yesterday on social media a video of Dujon Sterling back on the grass. A bit of an injury update there. So that is a positive sign. We were thinking, I think, was it October time for him returning to contention, which is good. I get it, but I mentioned Dujon on the show yesterday. As much as I like him, he's a good player whenever he's on the pitch. Just can't rely on him, unfortunately. So it's all well and good. We've seen these videos and footage before of him returning from injury. Unfortunately, his body just doesn't. It keeps letting him down every so often, and you can't rely on him, which is a crying shame, because he is a cracking big player. But what do you make of that, Chris? Obviously, it's clear that he's edging closer to a return at least.
Before I answer that one, Derek, has my camera disappeared? My laptop screen went in front of there. I've now just got a blank. A blank screen. So if people can hear me but can't see me, then I only apologise. Well,
not only can we hear you, Chris, but we've just got a still image of your fantastic coupon staring back at us.
That's just absolutely smashing. Then hold on, I'll remove myself and come.
There we go.
Has that fixed the issue now?
Now we've just got a black screen. So it was actually better before when we just had a still image of you. But we'll let Chris go and try and sort out the gremlins that are infiltrating his system there. But what do you make of Dujon Sterling, folks? Bob with the point here, he says, big mustard will walk into the team. Yeah, if he's 100% fit, then absolutely. I would be having him in my Rangers team all day long. But it's just how long he can last, unfortunately. This point from Blue Nose Bob, who says that Sterling will last about 5 to 6 games, then out injured again. John O'Rourke with an interesting point as well. Sterling would be in the EPL if he wasn't injury prone. He's just been hugely unfortunate with the old injuries since being at Rangers. We've got Chris back. There we go in 4K. Good to have you back, Chris.
I'm not really sure what happened there, to be honest. I'll run it by those who are more techie minded than me later on, but I'm not really sure. Just the screen went black, and then my wee box on my side, the screen went black there as well. So but we're back, and that's the most important thing. Where were we? Dujon Sterling.
Yeah. Back in the game, I was just saying there, it's great to see him. I mean, it looks like he's obviously getting closer to a return, but it's how long he can return for before his body lets him down again, I guess.
I think there's probably two big questions regarding Dujon Sterling right now. One is obviously his fitness and his robustness. Now, can he get through the number of games that Rangers need a player to be able to get through? That's one that he can only answer by actually stringing together a number of games. We've just not seen that from him. So that's a big point that he has to prove. The other one, I wonder how suited he actually is to a Russell Martin system. Is he good enough on the ball to be part of this team? You look at how the manager wants to play. Look at some of the attributes that he looks for in his players. A lot of Sterling's game is being high energy. It's covering ground. It's making big tackles. Is he good enough on the ball to be a big part of this side? I think he could be. I think he's still young enough. He's still got a lot of time to improve. I think he can be coached. We've seen him look really comfortable in a number of different areas. So I think if you can play left back, you can play right back. If you can play midfield, if you can play wide right, wide left, that suggests that you are certainly adaptable. That you have a really good a mixed skill set. So I think he can answer that question. I think he could be good enough on the ball for Russell Martin's side. But by the time he gets back up to full speed, he's obviously a long way behind the rest of the squad in terms of the tactical work and being able to take on all that information. So if you're looking at another few weeks, by the time he's back involved, the squad will have had another number of games, certainly another number of training sessions under their belt as well. And he's then got a lot of information to take on and a lot of catching up to do quite quickly. I hope that he can do. I like him as a player. I think he can be a good Rangers player. I just hope it doesn't become one of these situations of he becomes a better player when he's not in the team and people then talk him up too much. I think given the length of time that he's been out, it is going to have to be a really phased return. Don't expect him to come straight in, slot in at right back and say, well, that's now my spot. I think we're still a long way before we really see what Dujon Sterling can bring to a Russell Martin Rangers.
Yeah, and speaking of right backs and utility players, if you like, I noticed this morning. Rangers on tour raises a point. Horatio Casemiro has just joined Molde on loan. He's a player I would have had back. Plays across the back. I've got to admit, I was surprised Rangers never went in back to Feyenoord and brought him back, even if he's on loan there. And no disrespect to Molde, but it's not exactly Rangers, is it? I wonder if that was given the fact that Niels Koppen was departing, and of course we've got Kevin Fairwell now in and Dan Purdy, whether they looked at that and went, nah, it's not for us. But I was a fan of Big Casemiro. Now, talking about injuries, he was injured for a large chunk of the season last season, but when he was available, I thought he was very useful, and given the fact that he could play in a number of positions, I thought that was pretty much a no-brainer. If it was just another loan, Chris?
I think he's maybe a case of damned if you do, damned if you don't. If you do bring him in and those injury issues come back, people will throw it at you saying, why are you signing injury-prone players? Why are you signing a guy that missed a large chunk of last season when you know the injury that he had? If he now goes to Molde, I saw that move actually being confirmed last night. If he now goes there and he plays regularly week in, week out for them and has a really impressive season, people will say, why was he not assigned? He'd been a good option for us. He could have filled in at left back. He could have done a job at right back or centre half. It was almost a no win-win for Rangers. That when he was here, when he played, I think you can tell there's definitely something there. There's definitely a player in there. It was a long time for him to be out, and hopefully he can go into Molde and he can go and play go and play a number of games and really kind of kickstart his career again, because last season he arrived and there's obviously a lot of excitement on his part joining a club like Rangers, and the season just never ever got going for him, did it? No, they had the issues on the pitch that Rangers had, the issues off the pitch that Rangers had. He then picks up that injury, then comes back, and obviously you're coming into a really difficult situation at the end of the season. So hopefully he can go and really establish himself, and certainly wish him well. I think he's one that Rangers fans will certainly be keeping an eye on.
Yep. Interesting point from Alex. He says, fans talking about Casemiro, Cherny, Sima. Clement worked with these players before. Russell Martin didn't. All good players, incidentally. 3 players that I certainly wouldn't have been opposed to seeing pitch up back at Ibrox, that's for sure. Love this from Matt. It is the autumnal weather sets in. He says, good morning from a poolside course, a cool 32 degrees. Went on holiday there once a good number of years ago. Absolutely fantastic place. You ever been there, Chris?
Not actually, no, but 32 degrees is a lot higher than it is up the road here anyway. The rain is battering off the window behind us here, so not jealous I'm at all there.
Yeah. So that's just covered the sort of the back line there. Of course, Dujon Sterling. Headline news. We hope that he comes back and he can play a real string of games, because when he's on the park, he certainly is an asset, that's for sure. Now, loads of questions coming in, so apologies, folks, if I don't get to your one that you pop in. Now, this is an interesting one on the left back situation, Chris, because I think Rangers have left themselves short there with only Jaden Magoma recognised left back. Dujon, of course, can play there when he comes back. We've seen James Tavernier play there. We've seen Max Aarons play there. We've seen Bailey Rice play there. Kieran Dill can play there. But let's be honest, they're not. They don't look comfortable out there. The point here from Damsey says, can we not go into the free market for a left back? Of course, Rangers can pick up free agents at this point in time. I'm just having a quick look at potential left backs at this moment in time. There's the Spanish chap, Sergio Reguilon, who has got a lot of experience, of course, but he is currently a left back that is without a club. I'm not too sure of too many others, I've got to say, but is that a concern for you, left back, the situation if Magoma gets injured, or if he's asked to perhaps play too many games?
I think they're a bit short there. I have to say it was one of the ones that people were asking a lot of questions about on deadline day and before that. Now, when will a left back come in? I checked that out about tea time or so, I think, on deadline day, and was told no, there's nothing doing on that front. So I'm surprised. I thought they would have had another one in, even just from a numbers perspective. You lose 3 and you bring in 1. Something tells you that doesn't quite add up. I think Magoma has looked okay. I think there's definitely a promising young player in there, but it's a big ask, I think, to put that pressure on his shoulders. Could that be a role that they see Dujon Sterling filling in? Could they switch Max Aarons to left back? Could you switch James Tavernier to left back? So it's not a case of there is no option at all. But I think a more established left back would have been a handy bit of business to do. So you might find that they see something in Sterling, for example, that thinks, well, for several seasons, the theory was that Sterling would be the next Rangers right back, and that was always a position. While he was being moved around the side, that was a position that senior figures there thought right back is his role. Maybe Russell Martin sees him in a different vein and thinks he's got something in him as a left back. I think the problem they've got is there's not a lot of experience in the squad in general. I think that's one of the downfalls of the recruitment. They've gone in that manner, gone for a different profile. You don't have a lot of guys that have played an awful lot of games, and you don't have a lot of guys that have played a lot of games for Rangers. Now, while someone like Sterling perhaps hasn't played as many games as he would have hoped, I think we've seen when every time he's played, he's got a level of commitment and professionalism and a real drive about him. I was there that night at Dens Park when he uttered a profanity or two to describe the Rangers.
Yeah.
And I think he definitely gets it. So I think someone like him I say might not be a regular starter, might not be someone that they think is going to play 40, 50 games a season, but even someone like him in and around the squad, I think it just helps in general. So it could be a real help to, like say McComa, could also fill in different areas. So I think having someone like him back, yes, it gives you another body that can go in at left back, but that experience factor I think is a big thing for Rangers, because a lot of these new players, they're going to have to learn an awful lot very quickly about what it takes to actually be a Rangers player. I say, well, Sterling hasn't had the Rangers career that he would have hoped for because of injuries so far. He's seen quite a lot during his couple of seasons up here, hasn't he? He's been through a lot, change of managers and Ibrox issues and change of regimes. So someone like him, you also can throw Jack Butland in there, you can throw John Suter in there, the captain, obviously. Having guys like that in and around the squad, I think, can certainly be invaluable to a group that is still very fresh.
Yeah, thank you to many of you getting in touch with another suggestion for a free agent left back. Stuart Conway and many others. It's Derek Jamal Lewis, Northern Ireland international release from Newcastle on a free is a no-brainer. Yeah, good shout, incidentally. Without a club, you spent time at Norwich as well, a good number of years coming through the academy and playing for Norwich, so it would have been an ex-teammate, I'd imagine, of Russell Martin, so a player you'll know well. And at Newcastle, spent time on loan at Watford, and then more recently, last season at Sao Paulo over in Brazil. He's got international caps as well. 27. I wonder if he's got options in the available to him, but that would scream out to me as certainly I wouldn't break the bank, and it would give you cover over in that left back position. So an interesting one. Good suggestion there. Moving on from that, one player that was rumoured over the course of the summer, Chris, that Rangers were interested in. They had a bid rejected, of course. Multiple Man 78 said it. Did we get close to signing Rak-Sakyi? It never materialised in the end, and a Palace player never went anywhere in the end. It remains to be seen. I know some markets are open in Europe, whether the Eagles move him out on loan in the continent this year. But is that a move that Rangers may regret, do you reckon, not getting him over the line?
I think he would have been a good bit of business. I think that would have been a real, that was one that would have given the fans a real great boost on deadline day. It's always a kind of funny thing of when you announce signings, because people knew that Chermiti was going to get done and they then knew that Cornelius was going to get done. Some people thought that's a bit of a damp squib, and it's not quite what we're hoping for. They're hoping for a bit of late drama. Rak-Sakyi could have been that bit of late drama. That could have been the final deal. In the end, it just didn't quite get there. That was one that Rangers were working on, and that we were trying to keep across various phone calls and text messages to try and get to the bottom of that one. In the end, it just didn't quite work for Rangers. I think they needed Manor Solomon to move, and you're looking for pieces of the jigsaw to fall into place, and or dominoes to fall, to use a different phrase. It just didn't quite happen for Rangers in the end. I don't think they're short in those wide areas. It probably puts a bit more pressure on the younger ones like Mikey Moore and Finlay Curtis to really step up. You're looking at what's like Ant-Man being established, Gassama being established. I don't think they're short of options there. But someone like Rak-Sakyi would have been a real statement of intent deal. But as I didn't quite happen. Perhaps one that they could revisit in January. You would imagine if Palace were as keen to move him on, that he's not going to play a lot of football between now and January, so that could potentially open up for Rangers.
Yeah.
So one that they were in the race mid-July. I think we had that story to say that first offer had been made and rejected. At that stage, Palace were keen for a sale. Rangers also didn't want to go in at the 10 million or so level that Palace were looking at that time. Felt that they could get a loan with an option on it. In the end, it just didn't quite work out, which is a shame, because that would have been a great story for us to have, and a great deal for Rangers to get over the line. But these are the ways that transfers and deadlines and deals work. Some you win, some you get, some you lose, and some you don't.
Yep, that's the way it goes. Colin Clark with a point. I heard Hadji and Cholak are free agents. Cholak signed for Legia Warsaw, so he would play over in Poland. But Hadji is still looking for a new club. I've seen some suggestion that Rangers should try and thrash out a deal and bring him back. I thought he would have a club by now, Yanis Hadji, but that is not the case. And I love this, just on my point about Jamal Lewis. Jake says, Derek, this is Rangers, not the council where you get all your mates a job. So there you go. That's his view on the possibility of Rangers going for Jamal Lewis. Moving on from that, Ali McCoist has been speaking on TalkSport. Let's talk about Rangers' second most expensive signing, Chris, because certainly that is one that has to work for not only Rangers, but Kevin Thelwell and Dan Purdy, who have put their trust in this boy, not only at Everton, but now at Rangers. So McCoist has been speaking about the fee that Rangers have shelled out for this lad. He says, straight away, there's nobody that hopes more than me that Youssef Chermiti goes on and scores a barrel load of goals for Rangers. Nobody hopes more than me that happens, right? But there would have to be massive question marks about it because he hasn't done it anywhere he's been. So why would you take a gamble like that? Why would you not potentially spend your 8 million, go and get the lad Sima, who's been at the club and done very, very well at the club? He's just moved in the window there for 4 million. And Cherny, who I think was a success at Rangers on loan last year, he's just moved for 6 million. So why would you not take, in my opinion, a more calculated risk by getting 2 players you know that can do the business for you? Now, I'll qualify it again by saying the lad might go on and score all sorts of goals, and we all hope he does, but it's a heck of a gamble. It is a heck of a gamble, and I sort of agree with McCoist on his points there on Cherny and Sima. Certainly when you see Cherny going to Besiktas, now if you're not telling me that's a better move than Rangers, but there you go. Again, it ties in with what we mentioned before on Cash and Wiro. There was a change in recruitment personnel in the summer, and what someone reckons that could do a job for Rangers, the other guys might not agree with that, and hence we don't have a Václav Cherny or an Abdallah Sima at the club. So what do you make of McCoy's comments here, Chris?
I think it's fair. People would have been quite pleased, I think, if Sima had come back, and if Cherny had come back. You know, when they both left the club and it became clear that they wouldn't then be rejoining the club, we did a number of shows of people saying, no, why aren't we back in that market? Why aren't we asking the question? I think you have to say they're both different types of players, obviously, to Chermiti. They would have certainly added real quality and strength and depth to those wider areas. But having already invested in those wide areas with Gassam and Ant-Man, you kind of move on from them. So you've then got Curtis, you've then got Moore, you're in the race for Rak-Sakyi. That's clearly the road that they wanted to go down in terms of the wider options. I know that Sima could play through the middle and has played through the middle. Different type of striker to Chermiti, those. And if you're losing Agaman, you bring in Miovski, and you're losing Dessers, you're looking for a number 9. You're looking for someone that can be that focal point to the attack, and that looks more like being Chermiti than it does like being Sima. You also have to remember that there's a budget there. Rangers have to stick to it. Now, that's not to say that we're too constrained by it. Now, they have spent an awful lot of money over the summer. Yep. Also brought in a lot of money as well. The manager has been backed. Kevin Thelwell and Dan Purdy and the recruitment team have been backed. If they think that the best way to use that £8 to £10 million was to bring in Chermiti and make him the guy that's going to be a number 9, you have to back that judgment. They know far more about the player than I do. They know far more about him as a guy than I do. Looking forward to see him in action. Looking forward to hopefully see him in a press conference, and we can get to know him a bit more. And obviously, the most important thing is that he comes in and he scores goals. So I do get why people are saying it's a lot of money to put into a player, but that's the market these days. The market has moved on. There was a time when £4.5 million got you Ronald de Boer. £4.5 million right now gets you Oscar Cortez. That's just the game. That's how things have moved on. You can't judge Chermiti as £8 million against what £8 million used to get you, because it just doesn't anymore. I think Fulham signed a lad from Chelsea for 22 million. England under 19 internationals, played a few games for Chelsea over the seasons. I'd actually never heard of him, which maybe sums up my knowledge of English football to an extent. But if you're shopping in that English market, that's what you get for your money. They clearly felt it was less of a risk and to go down that market and get a player that they know, that they have seen, that they know how he works, than going and getting a guy from Scandinavia or going to South America or going to Asia and putting the same level of finance. So people have always said, no, Rangers don't. Rangers haven't spent money. That's not really been the case for a long time. They spent a lot of money under the previous board, spent a lot of money under this board. It's how they have spent it that's been the problem. It's been the wastage that's been the problem. Hopefully, come the end of the season, we're not sitting and we've got Chermiti in that particular bracket. Rangers need that signing to work, and clearly they feel that he's the man to lead this line for hopefully a successful Rangers side.
Yeah, those were the days, incidentally, when Rangers could go out and buy Barcelona forwards a la Ronald de Boer, world-class players at the time. Those days are long gone, unfortunately. But I did enjoy that time, I've got to say. John Hind with a point, just staying on the topic of Chermiti, says, will Russell Martin accommodate both Miovski and the boy from Everton, a 4-4-2 possibly? I think we touched on this a bit on the Deadline Day show on Monday evening. I would like to see it personally. I'm not sure what he is going to do, I've got to say. But when you're spending that cash on him, and this is the thing, it happened to Tor André Flo as well, who had a pretty decent scoring record, but it was always at the £12 million that was levelled at him. And he said it himself in interviews afterwards that he felt that pressure on him, and it was almost like a sort of weighing him down. I wonder if the fan base, if they'll look at Chermiti and just expect him to score doubles, hat-tricks and all this sort of stuff, Chris. I don't think that's going to happen.
It'd be nice if it happened, because Rangers Rangers certainly need someone who's capable of that, because as we've discussed on numerous shows already this season, they don't carry enough of a threat, they haven't scored enough goals and clearly haven't won enough games. So they need Chermiti to work. I like Miovski, and we spoke about that the other day there in the days round about when he signed. That prospect of having the two of them in the same side, I think that's quite an intriguing one, something that I think is quite an exciting one for the fans. Time will tell if that's the road that Russell Martin wants to go down. Ultimately, the rest of the team has to click better from middle to front. Doesn't matter who the striker has been in a number of these matches, haven't created chances for him. The ball hasn't been in the right area. So you're looking at the guys in the middle of the pitch. Again, plenty of options in there. You're looking at those wide players that we've discussed already. They need to click. They need to be more on their game in the final third. If they can do that, if they can provide the right service, I think we know that Miovski can score, and we know that, or we hope that Chermiti can score goals as well. I say the people that have signed him clearly have that faith in him. So I do get why people are wary about the fee, because it is a lot of money for Rangers. Of course, it's a lot of money for Rangers, a lot of money for Scottish football to be spending on a player. But don't hold the price tag against him. That's not his fault. Yeah. He's here to try and do a job. If it goes well, it'll go down as a great bit of business, and Rangers potentially make a tidy profit on him. If it goes badly, then people will rightly ask questions, and people will have to pay the consequences of that. So don't hold that $8 million against him. Let's just see what the boy can actually do first.
Yeah, this point from RFC 72, we don't even create two chances for him to get a double, Derek. That is a very valid point. Rangers don't create not nearly enough. And Chaparuni on Flo, he says, Flo did well in a kind of Dessa's way. He did. That's a good comparison there, Chaparuni. He did contribute. If Rangers had brought him in for $3 million or even $6 million, I think we'd look back more fondly on him what he is remembered as. Right, I think that'll do us for now. Just starting to scroll down here. There was a question actually saying from Adam, when is the European squad announced? You know when that may be, Chris? Of course, Rangers kick off the campaign later on this month at home to Genk, if I'm not mistaken. I'm sure it's at some point soon. I can see you looking at when that may be.
Yes, I saw that comment coming in and went on the UEFA website, and it still says official squad list not available yet. So if the paperwork has been done, UEFA haven't held up their end of the bargain and updated their website yet. So we'll keep an eye on that, and obviously once it's out, we'll bring it to you. But you would imagine both of those deadline day deals. It's safe to say that they'll be in that particular squad. Interested to see who drops out of it. Because also have to move the squad round about in different ways to also to meet the various different criteria that UEFA have. So nothing as of yet. So as of 10 o'clock on Wednesday, the squad is not yet available through UEFA. As soon as it is, we'll bring that to you on the website and all the social channels.
Yeah, good stuff. Excellent. Right, we'll wrap up there for now, folks. Thank you to you all for tuning in to the show. It's very much appreciated. Those of you that are Rangers Review extra members, what we'll do is we'll record our Q&A show, our weekly one that we do for you guys a little bit later on. 1 o'clock, I think we usually record, so I'll pop the link in the community page, get your points in, and we'll speak to you then. If I don't chat to you, then enjoy your Wednesday, whatever you are up to, and we'll chat again soon. Bye for now.